Hey everybody, it's Jason from the Texas Gun Vault, and today I'm coming to you with another product review. First and foremost, I am humbled beyond words to think that people that own small companies are willing to send me products to give my honest opinions and reviews over the things that they make and are trying to promote. But with that said, I have always promised my viewers and subscribers that any product review that I do, I will always fully disclose the terms of the deal that I make with the person sending me the product. In this case, it is York's Gun Wax. So, I am not getting paid for this review. I am not getting any type of discount code to give to my viewers. The only thing that I received in the mail for free is the wax itself. In this case, it is called Gun Armor, and I guess the scent is Buttercream Gun Wax. I received 4 business cards and a microfiber towel. That is all that I received. No compensation, no promise of compensation, no discount codes, nothing. He just wants my honest opinion and review of his product. So I was sent this by the owner of the company who makes this in small batches. And so I am going to use this for the very first time on film and compare it to what I currently use as a protective coating for my guns, which I have talked about in previous videos, which is frog lube. I know that this is a CLP, however in the past I've talked about how I use this personally. I do not use it as a lubricant, and I do not use it as a cleaner. I use it as a protectorant. So essentially I will melt it a little bit with a, not a heat gun, but like a hair dryer, and I put a very, very thin and light coat on the exterior parts of my guns and then simply wipe it off. And that is just to prevent rust and to give anything that is non-oxidizable like aluminum or polymers a much darker sheen. So I'm very curious if this product here is going to do the same thing. So let me adjust the camera. Let's get this thing out. I'll talk to you about the product and what the owner of the company has told me, and I'm going to apply it to 3 guns. I have my HK USP 40 Compact. I got something stainless steel out here. I got my Colt 1911. This is my XSC series lightweight commander, and my Home Defense AR-15 SBR. He had mentioned that he was having some resistance of people trying these products out on tactical guns, things made of, polymer and such, but he's had a lot of success with people on traditional wood type of hunting guns and shotguns and so forth. So I said, sure, I'll give it a try. You guys now know the terms, so let's get the camera set up and try this out and see what it's like on tactical firearms. All right, so here we are on the table. Got my 3 guns, and I got the gun wax. This is actually a really interesting product to me simply because, as I mentioned before, I've been using the frog lube in this capacity, but this is a CLP, or it's supposed to be a CLP. This is a product that really is designed to be a gun wax to protect your firearms. I did ask the owner of the company to email me specific directions on how to apply and use it, because I did not get any instructions with this particular product, and I just wanted to make sure that I used it correctly. And he sent me a couple things I'm going to read for you guys first. He talks about what this product is and why it is supposed to be better than anything else on the market. Essentially, he says it is a 100% chemical-free, all organic gun wax. It is perfect for hunters, enthusiasts, and your everyday gun owner. There are no petroleum distillates used in our wax, so it is safe for all gun components. It is also non-scented and doesn't have a strong petroleum smell most wax has. Makes it ideal for hunters. This is a real wax, not chemicals. To applicate, dig in the can to bring out the wax paste and apply very liberally. Rub the wax in and buff it off. Again, it is made with the highest quality and the hardest wax available, so it will be very difficult, very different experience using than what you most likely use, or likely, it's kind of written a little bit weird here. I guess you're most likely used to using. On that note, once applied, you will have a much better protection and shine than what you are used to as well. Wax comes in large 8-ounce tin, made in America right here in the great state of Texas. He says it prevents rust, provides waterproofing, gives luster to any surface, including but not limited to polymer, blued steel, wood, Cerakote finishes. Scent-free, the only real non-smelly wax on the market. And once again, he emphasizes great for hunters. I guess I know hunters worry about the smell of certain chemicals and odors that could scare away game. Protects against water and humidity, made in small batches in America. Everything in my wax, including the labels and containers, are sourced from American companies. Great on all gun components. And so that is what he has said. He also talks about using the microfiber towel to dig into the can, as I mentioned, apply pretty liberally, and then buff off after 5 to 10 minutes. So let's do that. So first off, I'm going to open this. It does say this is buttercream. I know that he says it is non-scented, but the name buttercream seems to indicate that it's going to have a scent of some kind. So let's see here. Take this thing out. It really doesn't have much of a scent at all. In fact, to me, it smells like Play-Doh. I know that seems weird. It's not a very strong smell, but it just kind of smells like basic Play-Doh that I used to play with as a kid. So I'm not really sure how hard this wax is going to be. The outside air temperature here in Texas as I'm filming this is in the low 50s, and here in the garage it is probably in the upper 60s. So sometimes I'll even use a hair dryer, as I have right here, when I apply the frog lube. I may have to do it with this, but I'm going to try to apply it just as he describes it in his email to me. So I think I'm going to start off first with the HK USP 40 compact. Of course, let me safety check the gun here, and we are good. So I'm going to start on the metal and the polymer here. So that wax is not too hard. I'm able to kind of dig it out with the cloth there. So I'm going to start with the slide. Seems to kind of be a little goopy, gets on everything, kind of gets in all like the crevices there. So I'm going to apply it liberally, as he said. Now, one thing I'm worried about applying this much is having to get it all back off. That's one of the complaints when it comes to frog lube in general. When people use this product, they say it gets in everything, and then getting it all out pretty much requires you to clean the gun again. So I got the slide. Now let me try some of the polymer here. So as you can see, it's kind of digging into all the stippling here of the gun. Let's see. We'll go to the other side as well. See what happens here. And I'll probably even do the magazine. So you get some of the controls. Underneath here, underneath the trigger guard. Let me take the magazine out as well. So I'm trying to cover as many different types of products on the firearm as possible. I got, blued steel, I got polymer on this gun. I'm going to try it on stainless and of course aluminum on the AR. So, all right, so I'm going to put all this here to the side, let it sit for 5 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and start applying this to the other guns as well. So let me get my 1911 here. Safety checked. I'll leave that magazine out, I guess. All right. So let's apply it to this as well. I don't think this is going to be as effective on stainless steel simply because it's stainless steel, but we shall see. Usually this is a material that is not going to have much issue when it comes to rusting. Stainless steel, though, can rust. Most people don't know that. So if put in the right conditions, like a saltwater environment, because it's not impervious to rust. It's just resistant to rust. And the frame on this gun is aluminum, so we'll try that as well. This is an anodized silver, and I got wood grips on this. Obviously, this is my Brownworks grips that Mark from Brownworks made for me with my custom channel logo. So we're going to put some of this wax in here as well. See how that looks. Front strap here. Now I gotta say, you guys know that I'm real OCD about my firearms, okay? And I use frog lube a lot in this capacity. So I'm gonna be real picky. The only thing right now I'm kind of worried about is getting it out of all these like little crevices. It may be easy, and if it's a little bit difficult, I may use that hair dryer a little bit to maybe kind of soften it up a little bit to get it out of all of like the small letters and all that, but we'll see. So let's get the AR here and drop the magazine. Once again, safety check the firearm. Let me move these out of the way over here. And I'm just going to do the lower receiver on this gun. See how that looks. So I get over here and all the markings. As such, and once again, I know this is riveting YouTube. You guys are on the edge of your seats as I do this. So, I don't know if I'm buffing it in enough or not. I'll probably try it a couple of different ways, and we'll see what happens. So there we go. So I did the lower receiver here. Kind of did my best to kind of buff it in. So I'm just going to let it sit here for 5 minutes, and I'll start the camera again and see if I can take this off and what it takes and what the final product kind of looks like. Okay, so it's been about 5 minutes, so we're going to take this off and see what the product looks like. So let's see here. Let's start off with that HK. I'll kind of go in the same order that I applied it. So he says you just kind of have to buff it off. So I'm just going to do that. See how it comes off. And as expected, it's a little bit difficult to get it off those small parts there. But it seems to be coming out of the crevices, and I was kind of worried about that, but it seems to be doing a pretty darn good job. Here on the polymer, let's kind of see what that looks like. And you can, of course, here on this HK, you got this granulated texture. Doesn't seem to be coming out of that as well. So I'll come back to that in just a moment. But on the slide itself, it's coming off. You really got to buff this thing out. Let's see here. So when it comes to the slide, yeah, I can definitely see a difference here. I think that it looks very even. I'm going to say that it doesn't have the same shine that frog lube does, but it does look nice and has a nice reflective coat to it. Let me see if I can smell that Play-Doh smell in it. Yeah, I can smell that a little bit. It's very mild. It's very mild. Let me keep working here on the polymer. I'm having a hard time getting it out of the letters here of HK and the grip. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take the hair dryer and I'm going to see if I can possibly kind of get that to melt a little bit, that wax to melt, and maybe that would be make it a little bit easier. So I'm going to set it to hot and low. Let's see if that does anything. And now let's see if I can get this out. Man, it is in there good. I don't know. In that textured finish, I'm probably going to have to get some Q-tips out to get it out of that. But on the slide, it seems to work pretty well. So let's move on to the other gun and let's see how that looks. So let me also take it off the magazine here, I guess. And after I get done with this review and towards the end, I'll let you know if I'm able to successfully get all of that wax out of the grip here on the gun. All right, that looks pretty good. All right, so let's set that one aside. Let's bring out the 1911 here. As I mentioned, I didn't think this would be much of a use on a stainless steel gun, simply because it is already a pretty reflective and easy to maintain material. But being an all-natural wax, it is supposed to protect, so I think its best uses would probably be on things that are carbon steel. Okay, so it comes off the metal in the slide really well, and I think it looks really good. Now that adds actually a very reflective coat to that stainless steel. I like that a lot. That looks better than frog lube in my opinion when it comes to the stainless. Okay, so let's get down here to the aluminum frame. And of course the wood grips here. See if it comes out of the engraving on those wood grips. Okay, it comes out of that pretty well. It's still kind of in there. I don't know. I may have to get the Q-tips out, as I said, and get all that out. I don't know how hard that's going to be, but it's definitely in the letters. Just a little bit. It's not too bad. I definitely don't want to leave it there, though. And it is in the screw head. All right. Let's do this side. On the flat wood surface, though, it looks fantastic. So I like that. So there's some aspects about this that I really do like. Okay, there's that. And I don't think I put any on the magazine. Let me just wipe it down anyway. And put this to the side. I'm going to come back with a Q-tip in a minute and see if I can get into all those letters on both the HK and the Colt. And now let's see what it does here on the aluminum lower receiver of my SBR. Now the engraving on this gun is not as deep, so maybe it will come out of the letters a little bit easier on this one. Okay, that's coming off really nice. Something else that I really look for in a product of this type is after you apply it, are you able to easily wipe off fingerprints? So is it resistant to that oil that you would typically get? So far, it seems to be working. I think, however, on the black anodization, I think I like the frog lube a little bit better when it comes to the look. But as I said, wait till I get done here to pass any judgment. I do think the one advantage to this, though, over the frog lube is this is not going to give you a oily feel when you're holding it. So if I run my finger across it, I like this better than frog lube because frog lube will leave like an oily residue because after all it is a CLP. This does not, but gives you a look in general of kind of a frog lube. So it does kind of look wet a little bit. And it's not coming out of my SBR engraving. So I'm going to try it again with the hair dryer. I'm going to see if I can get out of a couple of these letters in here. Like here on the Barrett, I got it in the T. I got it around a couple of little spots. I may have to get out those Q-tips. I didn't think I'd have to. Yeah, I may have to. All right, so let me try the hair dryer here real fast. Let's see here, hot and low. And that gets warm kind of fast, so let's see if I can get it out now. Yeah, I got out a little bit. So I think if I was going to use this wax, I might use the same trick that I do when I use frog lube. And that is, I may heat up the wax itself just to make it a little bit softer and flow a little bit better. So that came out pretty good on that side. Let me try the SBR engraving on the other side. I'll do the same thing. All right, and now see if I can get it out there. Maybe. Okay, it's definitely in those letters. I may have to get the Q-tips out. I won't bore you with the video of that, but I'll let you know how it goes in the end. And so, tried this out, and I'll give you my final thoughts. But before I do that, let me see if I can melt this wax with just a hairdryer and what it does. See if it does act like frog lube. Alright, so it doesn't seem to really have the same melting point as frog lube. I'm sure if I got it hot enough, it is going to liquefy, but it obviously has a higher melting point than frog lube. So I don't know if that's going to be good or bad. The one thing I definitely don't like about it is that it gets in these really small places, and it's really hard to get back out. But on surfaces that are flat, like this side of the receiver, I think it looks great. And I think on the side of the slides on the semi-auto pistols, it looks fantastic. But when it comes to the grips, unfortunately, not as much. So I'm going to take some time, try to get the Q-tips out, get that out, and let you know what happens. So let me do that right now. Alright, so what are my final thoughts? Well, first off, I am going to say that when it comes to this York's wax, I was able to get it all out of the stippling here on the HK and all of the engraving on my 1911 grips and my AR-15. It took a little bit of time, elbow grease, heat from the hairdryer, and Q-tips though. So, I think because of that, this might not be a product for someone that is not as OCD and likes and enjoys cleaning their guns as much as I do. Overall, I think the product works as advertised. There are some things though I probably still will use frog lube for, and those things will be items such as stippled Glocks, HKs, anything with a sandpaper texture, or things that have a lot of engraving. However, the thing that impressed me the most about this product was actually on the gun I didn't think it would do much on, which was my 1911 stainless steel. This has really brought out a very nice shine to this gun. It looks way better than it does when I do polish it with frog lube. So I'm very pleased with this, and I will say it's added kind of a very nice sheen to my wood grips as well. It just took me a little bit to get it out of that engraving. But overall, I think this is the gun that improved the most with this wax. I also feel that any surface that is for the most part relatively flat, such as the sides of my lower receiver here on the AR and on the slides of the HK, it did an outstanding job as well. In fact, I think I like that aspect of this better than I do frog lube. I like the fact it's not greasy and oily to the touch, it has the same type of sheen, and it seems to be very resistant to fingerprints. I'm able just to simply wipe them off. I do like that. I don't like it as much on the polymer, or as I said, anything that gets into like small little parts, because you got to really work hard to get it out. And the appearance is the melting point of this wax is much higher than it is on frog lube. So therefore, if you get it in these little nooks and crannies and you kind of want to melt it to kind of get it out, you can't do it as well with this. You really got to apply a lot of the heat. So overall, what do I think about this product? If I had to give it a star rating, like I always do on many of my products and range reviews, I'm going to give this 3.75 stars out of 5. It is definitely not a do-all product, but neither was Frog Lube. I am definitely going to keep this in my rotation of gun cleaning and care products. There is absolutely no doubt whatsoever. But I'm going to be very selective with what I use this product on. As I said, anything that doesn't have a lot of stippling, a lot of like little tiny nooks and crannies, I think this would be great on like mil-spec AR-15s. I think it'd be great on guns like Glocks, where you don't really have a lot of sandpaper textures on the grips, and you have a lot of kind of slab sides on the slides. I think this would be fantastic on that. Probably SIGs and Smith & Wesson MMPs, those types of guns. Anything with a lot of engraving, however, probably not the way to go. I might find another product that had a little bit less of a kind of a melting point that was easier to apply or wipe off. But with time, elbow grease, and attention to detail, you can really make your guns look really nice. And as I mentioned, the pros of this, it doesn't leave like a greasy residue, easy to wipe off, your fingerprints essentially. But the downside is the application and the removal process of it after it has set for about 5 to 10 minutes. So there you go. A very interesting product. I would recommend it to people. I'm not gonna, as I said, I don't think this is a product that cures everything. I don't think it's the perfect product, but it's a very good product. And that's just my honest opinion. So there you go. I'm going to put a link to this company's information in the description below. I don't have any product codes, wasn't paid for this review. As I mentioned in the beginning, you guys can go check it out. I believe they have a few other options when it comes to either scents or I guess smells or whatever. Go check it out. They also make waxes for other applications as well. So there you go. So York's Wax Buttercream Gun Armor. So interesting product. I'm going to keep it and I'm going to use it, but probably not for everything. So there you go. So let me know if you have any questions. I know this was probably not the most riveting review I have ever done on YouTube, but I wanted to give it an honest shot. So there it is. So let me know if you have any questions. Check out York's Wax. Check out their website and all the information in the description below. So as always, thanks for watching.